my beautiful plant people, welcome back to Reading Mindfully. My name is Yana, and today I am talking about some plants that I am wanting to try again. So let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So like I said, I don't know, am I having a moment? There are some plants that I have lately been wanting to try again, and I don't know if I'm getting bored or the plant is just like really appealing to me, like my taste is changing. But there have been some plants in my collection that I just been itching to try again. And some of these plants, to be honest, I don't know what happened to the plant. I don't know. But the first plant on my list is the Monstera deliciosum. And you may be thinking, Ayana, didn't you have one that you really liked and that you just propagated and that you were just like swooning over? And the answer is yes. And I don't know, this summer it just took a dive. I don't know what happened to it. And you know, for a while I was kind of not happy where it was going. I don't know, but this is one of the plants that I want to start over. I want to try a new one. And it's kind of sad because I had that plant. That was one of the first plants I had in my collection. So I did have that plant for quite a while, but everything doesn't last. And so I'm ready to get a new one. And I don't know, I just feel like the Monstera is just such a classic plant. I don't think it's one of those overrated plants. And while I do recommend it for a lot of plant collections because it is such a broad plant and it just automatically gives your house such a jungly vibe. Flies. It is just one of those plants that it would look good in a lot of collections, but if the Monstera is not for you, there are certainly other plants that you can have. But I really did enjoy having a Monstera. I love the broad leaves, the different kind of fenestrations you can get in the leaves. And I do have a Thai constellation in my collection that is still doing really well. It's putting out, good leaves. But just having the green variety, the OG, I really need that back in my life. So that's the first plant. The second plant are groupings of Syndaxes. And you may be wondering, didn't you have Syndaxes? You had a great collection of Syndaxes. And yes, I did have Syndaxes. I don't know what happened to them. I do know that my Exotica did get crushed by my Growlights, so there was that. And then I think my other ones were just too root bound to receive the water that they needed. I think I really needed to break up those plants, and which I did start to propagate them, but I don't know. I'm going to try those again. I'm going to start over. The only weird thing is that the Syndaxes do not really grow the way that I want them to grow. Sorry, people are like, it's long time. But like I said, that the Syndaxes don't really grow the way that I want them to grow in certain areas of my house without the assistance of a grow light. And so that was one of the things that really annoyed me about my home, because where I put the prayer plants, specifically my calatheas, and they thrived in those low light conditions, the Syndaxes in those same areas did not do as well. They were more sparse, they were straggly. And so if I do go back to getting Syndaxes, I would have to either keep them in my windowsill, or I would have to really find a good place to keep them so that way they maintain that lush look that I love in plants. If not, I'll just have to continuously propagate that plant. But I really will have to think about a good place to have those where they will grow really well. And so that is the Syndaxes exotica, the Argyris, and I had the silver splash as well as the silvery Ann. And so those are the plants that I would be liking to bring back into my collection. I have noticed that the price has gone up for those plants. I will be on the hunt to find the best deal possible. And so I won't just be springing into that, just buying it. I really need to find a good deal for that plant because I feel like those shouldn't be as pricey, seeing as that they're so easy to propagate. But like I said, I will be on the hunt for a good price for those. Another plant that I really want to try, that I just don't know if I just need to let this plant go, but I just have this feeling of where you just don't want to let them go, and you're like, no, like you're just like, you just don't want to let it go. And this is one of the plants that I don't want to let go. It is the Aglinema chocolate. Why don't I want this plant to just go? I should just let it go, but I can't. For some reason, every time I see this plant, I'm just like, like, I want this plant in my collection. And the last time that I had this plant in my collection, it was growing so well, and then all of a sudden it started blooming, and then it went pew, like it just took a straight nosedive. And I don't know if it's because it was blooming, because I moved it to a different location, but this plant hated me after a while. And I still have, the cuttings that I'm trying to propagate. It hasn't been growing roots, and the other one, the stripes, has been growing a ton of roots. So I don't know why the chocolate isn't growing roots, but I don't know what it is about this plant. I just need it in my collection, and I'm just refusing the fact that I just can't grow it. And like I said before, I don't know what it is about Aglanemas, but I do so much better when the Aglinema is 10 inches or bigger. When they are 4 inches, when they're 5 inches, when they're 6 inches, they are not doing well in my collection. They lose leaves, they gain leaves, but then lose leaves. And I don't know, they don't grow as well, they grow as fast. But I'm just wondering, comment down below if you guys have good luck with the chocolate Aglinema. And also comment down below, if I put 2 chocolate Aglanemas together in a bigger pot, do you think I'll have more success? Because technically there'll be more plants in the pot and the pot will be bigger. Or do you think it's the fact that the plant is more established in a 10-inch pot? I'm just really curious as to why there are certain varieties of Aglanemas that I never see, and I googled it before I made this video. I never see bigger than an 8-inch. I've never seen a chocolate Aglinema bigger than a 6-inch, and I'm just wondering, is it because it's not possible? Like what? I need someone to comment down below and give me the tea on the chocolate Aglinema, as well as the other varieties like the Fabian, the Valentine, the Red Valentine, all those other varieties I've never seen in a pot larger than a 6-inch. And so I don't know if this needs to be a discussion, but I need someone to give me the insides, because I have 3 huge Aglanemas in 10 or 12-inch pots, and they are doing so well, but all the other varieties I cannot seem to do well. So that is my little rant on the chocolate Aglinema, but I just refuse to not have that plant in my collection. The next plant that I really want to try again, and that I've had before, is the Aurelia. And specifically, I had the Ming Irelia. This plant is just so pretty. They also call it, the parsley, because it looks like parsley. But this plant, I don't know why, it just reminds me of Tarzan. Like when Tarzan's just swinging through the trees, or that scene where the monkeys are just tearing, the gorillas are tearing everything up in the campsite. I love these plants. I want these plants. I'm thinking about putting them in my infirmary area just to change that up, because I'm tired of looking at dead plants. It is bringing down my plant self-esteem. And so I feel like if I replace them with plants that actually look nice, then I will feel better about my ability to take care of plants. But I just love the Ming Irelia. They just are so beautiful. I saw one in Chinatown a couple years ago, and it was just so magnificent. But the lady said it takes so long for it to get to that level, because they can get about 6 feet tall, and it costs about $382. And I was like, can I get a small one, please? The small ones are about $20 to $25, but it's just the time that you put into it. It's going to take a little bit longer, but listen, I will wait in order not to pay that price. But like I said, this plant is just so beautiful. I love the stumps on these plants, And the reason why I think I didn't do well with this plant, because I really didn't understand how much water it needed. I don't think I watered it enough, which also led to getting spider mites. These plants are very spider mite prone, but I think that's, again, you know, the watering. I didn't have the watering quite right. And so some people say that the plant loves to be moist, and other people say you should let the plant dry out. So I'm definitely going to do research continue doing research before I go ahead and delve into Aurelias, because I don't want to just get my feelings hurt again. I have tried them a couple times. But also comment down below if you have an Aurelia, if you're doing really well with it, how you water them. And I'm pretty sure that they do well with, you know, lower to bright light. But that's the next plant. The plant after that is a similar Aurelia. It is the Fabian Aurelia. This one is just so beautiful. The leaves look like they're tiny lily pads growing on a stump. And for some reason, I just find that to be so interesting and curious. I am like gravitating towards more plants that are common, as well as some that are just interesting but different. You know, we've all going through the journey of like getting common plants, and then you kind of move to more uncommon plants, and then you go to rare, and then you kind of just move back and forth on the wave. But I find myself moving back to where I was in the beginning when I started my plant collection, and I really love those plants that I had in the beginning of my collection. Not saying that I don't enjoy the plants that I got, you know, the more uncommon and rare ones, but I just feel like the ones that I started my collection are the ones that really got me loving plants. And so I just found myself gravitating more towards that end. But the Fabian Aurelia my mom had, and every time I went in her house, my eye just like went to that plant, and it still just goes to that plant. So I just feel like if my what is the word? Like, if I'm just gravitating towards a plant, then that's like a plant that I really want to try, instead of just getting a plant because I see it on Instagram or I see someone else have it. Like, you know, I'm trying to get plants that I really am interested in, and not because someone else had it. But I really just love the way this plant looks. Like I said, it looks like lily pads on a stump, and the way it just gets so bushy at the top, I don't know, it's just such a cute plant, and I just would really enjoy having it. But these are some plants that I'm curious and interested to getting back into my collection. I'm not sure when I will get these plants, just because I'm still working on my collection and getting these plants under control and brought back to a place where I'm really proud of my collection, and where I can also manage my collection without slacking too much. Yes, it's good to take breaks from your collection and not be so like, I gotta be like on top of my plants, but I've also let my plants go by the wayside. And so I'm trying to make sure that I first take care of the plants that I already have before I go ahead and add new ones. I'm also trying to add plants that I already know that I'm good at, so that way I don't just like get so overwhelmed, because I do have a large collection. And there's still a couple plants that I still would like to dabble in. It's not too many, but I just don't want to overwhelm myself, if you know what I mean. And so those are the plants that I'm really curious about. Like I said, the Monstera, the Chocolate, Aglinema, and Aurelias, and as well as the Syndaxes. I'm sure there are a couple here and there that I would be curious to try again, but those are just the plants that come to the forefront of my mind every time I think of what plant would I like to try again. And so comment down below what plants you would like to try again, why you want to try them again, or what plants you would never try again. How about that? Or maybe I'll do a video if you guys want, what plants would I never try again. But yeah, so I just want to thank you guys so much for liking my videos, commenting, subscribing. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.